For early access plus exclusive content, facilitated discussions, live one-on-one Q&As, and more, become a patron at patreon.com/BrucePointset. So we're tallying for the readers at home, or the viewers at home. I'm not a writer. Anyways, for the viewers at home, we've got trying to stop a mass eviction crisis from getting worse, trying to end qualified immunity, and trying to get countless people the basic resources they need to survive. Again, a few tiny undertakings, but we're not done. Also have would it be fair to call this like a pet project almost?
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah, with a particular trying to get a park renamed in honor of legend Starchile. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I sit on a committee for the Interstate Firehouse Cultural Center, which is an art center that's been in the Black community for years, but then went dormant. I won't go through the whole spiel of how, but um, the city owns the property, and had commissioned some people to reconvene to see a vision through for how it can come back online. It was supposed to be like 4 meetings 3 years ago. And so it's turned into a much bigger thing because we have a bigger vision than I think what the city was really trying to rubber stamp and move along. But being on that committee, one of the things that I was really looking at was it's also attached to a park. And the park is named Patton Square Park. So this place, if you're not familiar, it's just like off the interstate in Killingsworth. And when I looked at everything, I was like, this is named after people have taken advantage of the Land Donation Act when they were giving white folks like 150 acres of land for free. And, just thinking about the place of it all, like this is off of Killingsworth and Interstate, this is a Black arts facility. Like if we had ownership over the places that we have lived in mass, nobody would have named that Patton Square Park. And I think, from the research that I've done, I haven't seen anything that's been like Matthew Patton was like some horrible guy or anything like that. And I think that's one of the kind of the things that we get given as the definition of racism too, as like people have to be terrible people. But it's also just old documents, so I really can't tell you a whole lot of anything. But what I can say is that would not be named after that person if we had the ownership of our own neighborhoods. So just thinking that is a Black arts facility, that we have the opportunity to bring this facility back online. It's kind of like a rebranding, a renewing. It's like this is a good chance to also rename the park, and activate people who would not typically, even be aware of the park either. And I was thinking, who can we honor? And at the time that I had just gotten onto the committee, I had a list of names, but Starchile had just passed. And just thinking about the impact that he was somebody I listened to on the radio. I didn't personally really know him. I went to do an interview for my birthday at Cliff's, radio show some years ago, and got to shake his hand, but we didn't know each other. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a matter of that. It was a matter of like just knowing his impact and the fact that he created Portland Hip Hop Day, and even people across the country were grieving when Starchile died. David Banner made a whole post about him, when Starchile had passed. These aren't small things, but I think Black people's contributions in general, have a tendency to not get the shine or light in Portland when they happen, especially hip hop. Like there are no monuments to hip hop in the city of Portland. There is Hip Hop Day now, which has turned into a week since Starchile passed. but like physically, there's no like monuments to this culture that has actually done a lot for the city. Um,
And
so
continues to.
and continues to, yeah. Um, so I just thought that was a proper person to honor, and so for since then I was like, I don't know how to get a park renamed, and did research on what that process really is, and it's actually very simple in terms of actually making the thing happen. Somebody has to be gone for at least 3 years. You sign some paperwork. The commissioner convenes a committee once you've submitted the paperwork to see if this is the thing they want to do, and then ultimately it gets a green light or it doesn't. It's like super simple on that front. But like, if you know anything about changing names, it's not that simple. And it's conversations with neighborhood associations and you know neighbors and community organizations and all those things. So you know I do have a full plate, and so it has been slower than I'd like to like do all the type of organizing that I'd like to do to make the thing happen. But one of the things that has been frustrating for me is it's not fully on me either, because when I had that idea to rename the park, I presented the idea to my committee members, and wanted to see if they wanted to take that on as part of our charge. But it was pretty outside of our charge. We have a huge charge at this point. I sounded like Donald Trump. We have a huge charge. It's the biggest charge that anybody. um, but yeah, we do, like, just with us being volunteers on that, it like takes up so much time engaging with the city and each other. So they're like, we can't take this on. But Amanda Fritz, who was the commissioner at the time, was at that particular meeting where I was presenting the idea to my committee members. She came up to me gushing, like she came up to me with so much positivity about, oh my God, I love Starchile. This is such a great idea. Oh my God, oh my God. And that was great, like cool. She also just got reassigned like 2 weeks after that, in terms of like, bureau responsibilities. But she was supposed to get, it was her last year or whatever. But I was like, you've been over this bureau for so long. It would very much be helpful if I got this in writing from you, that you think this is a good idea, that you support the idea, the initiative of this. And I just could not get that, I couldn't get that in writing and documentation. And so that was frustrating. Um, and I've spoken with equity people within the city. I've spoken with, representatives for the mayor's office, for, the, uh, at the time, Cole U. Daly's office, and, just a lot of different people. And again, these aren't supposed to be lone person kind of like initiatives. Like I got in touch with Mac and Cliff and all of that before I did any of what I'm talking about. And made sure Starchile's family was okay with this, and all of those things. Like, but yeah, just trying to get the vision to be like set in a way where I felt like I could get backing from them, has been a very like, you need to talk to this person, you talk to this person, talk to this person, talk to this person. And that's been years of talking to different people. Then I'm like, should I start a petition? Oh, you don't need to start a petition. Then what am I supposed to do at this point? Is kind of what I was saying. So what I'm trying to commit myself to at this point is making this more public, giving it more of a public interface, because there are definitely people that know, there are definitely people that know at the governmental levels, and there's people who know at the community level too. But I think we have to show up for the monuments that we want to see, and we have to demand it. So I think getting the stories out there about Starchile's impact is going to be important. I think getting some form of like digital support where people can sign on is going to be important, because I've been told that that's not a thing. But as somebody who organizes pretty consistently, those things actually do move needles. And I think it, even just showing that 1,000 people would like to see a Star Child Park, changes the conversation. Um, and there's more things that are named after the Patton family outside of the park. There's a Patton Road not too far from where I'm at right now. There's a building named Patton something after that family there, and there are things around that neighborhood that are named Patton just because Patton Square Park is right there. But I think this is an important thing for the city. It's just, hip hop is a part of the arts. That facility is history, and I think if we can bridge, Starchile's, name to that building, I think it'll be important for the vitality of the park, or for the IOCC building. And I think it'll be important for the vitality of just people understanding what hip hop has had to offer. I'll say this last too, like part of my inspiration of this too was that in Seattle, there is the Northwest African American Museum. Um, and I found,
Because have you been there by chance?
yeah, so this is how I found it. I was like Googling while I was up there in Seattle like years ago, just like looking for stuff to do. And then I came across, oh, there's a Jimi Hendrix Park. I'm like, gotta go there. So like I'll go over to the Jimi Hendrix Park and just walking around. And then I'm like, oh, this is attached to a museum. It's a Black museum.
All right.
And it's like, oh man, this is cool. And Jimi Hendrix is from Seattle, and just kind of lifting up his name. Obviously,
It was a bit of a big deal.
yeah, his name holds weight in every corner of the world. Um, but yes, that was kind of my basis of inspiration as well. It's just like giving a landmark a different, giving a landmark next to a landmark connects things and connects people to places. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I got a chance to go up there a few years ago, and I forget what they're having, like some kind of like celebration outside, so you kind of get like the full, like one, just like the expansiveness of the park and all that. But then also, I went inside, looked at some of the art, looked at some of the exhibits, and just like, yeah, why, you know, why don't we have, I mean, this in Portland, one, but also just like it kind of reframes this whole monuments discussion, because like what you're talking about is something as opposed to like this reactionary thing where it's like, okay, let's find, where are all the things named after Klan members that, you know, that we know we can get renamed or whatever, which I mean, personally, I'm for taking all that shit down.
Mhm.
I think it is actually the job program that keeps on giving, because, one, why would you honor that shit if you're, I mean, we know why, but, you know, you cut that down, it creates jobs programs, it creates new opportunities for art, discussion, blah, 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 blah. But getting off of that, just like the point you made earlier about what is there honoring hip hop in Portland, what like permanently, what, it's funny, I was doing an interview with Versatile the other night, just talking about the history and talking about like, he's put me on to just like, that the Imperial skating rink was like the place back in the day. And, we're just talking about how there isn't really something like, officially documenting that history in a way it deserves. So it's like, because the people are going to come up and say, well, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but, why now? Or, we're doing this, or isn't there this, isn't there this? And the issue still remains. What's permanent?
Mhm.
What's there? Like what's, because it creates opportunities. I was talking with someone else about just like even, you know, not having as many like all age shows because everything's at like bars. I don't know, maybe Starchile Park might be a spot, that encourages, more outdoor shows, more, you know, I don't know, there's just so much there as opposed to, again, I want to, just shit on the Pattons. I have not researched them or whatever. It's just, if you're trying to create a Portland that, all of its residents can connect with, never mind people from out of state, like, I don't know, David Banner might come to Starchild Park. You don't know. Like, so hopefully, I know, like, I didn't know Starchild like that either. I never even had the chance to like meet him, but I listened to him on the radio back in the day, 95.5 every Sunday. I remember the Portland anthem song, and I still fuck with it from time to time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, a lot of us, I shared something because I also did an interview with Wynn where she was talking about Starchild just bringing her to all these places and be like, yeah, this is Wynn, and she's super white, but she can out rap all of you. And just putting her on the spot in all these different shows. But it's just like you said, like he's just touched so many, just across so many lines. And just, I don't know. I get, when I think about the arguments that you've probably gotten in response, I just, I anticipate the annoyance of just being like, this is these weird standards when we want to honor Black people. But
you see how quickly we change that Flanders Bridge crossing to Ned Flanders.
Right.
Not like, I don't have any problem with that, honestly. Like, I really don't. Like, Flanders, Simpsons, Portland, branding, I think the bridge should probably be turned yellow. I think all of those things are great. I think it's cool. But it's the snap of a finger that we can do for some things and other things is kind of what's frustrating, when we're trying to do things that have like real substantive deep change. And that's exactly all those things you were naming. Like, this is not just a name a park after a thing. This is more people seeing themselves in a park that wouldn't have seen themselves in that park in the first place. It's a landmark. It's a place that people can activate. It's it's the opportunity of bringing people who are connected to Starchild to the city, maybe. And it's just giving ownership. It's us taking ownership over the places that have meant things to the community at large. So, yeah.
Yeah, not to, put this on a down note, but as I like to, speculate all the ways things can go wrong. So I'm gonna put this out here so people can come back and be like, oh, Bruce, you called it. But if you're able to like get the traction, you know what the move's gonna be? They will find another like old Black person and they'll be like, well, this person should get it before Starchild. And they're gonna have you button together.
They already did it.
Already did.
Yeah. So when I first proposed this idea, I was hearing from some people who are older than me, well, why can't this be named? Or I kind of like Charles Jordan. And Charles Jordan, he was the commissioner who helped open the place, and definitely name is he's a Black man.
Yeah, and he also has like they have named stuff after.
Yeah, he has the Charles Jordan Center in the Villa, and his name is lifted up frequently in the city. I would say pretty frequently. Not to say that you can't lift up a Black man's name more in this city, for sure. But
no, you can only talk about one. There can only be one.
Yeah, but I was like, it's no shade to Charles Jordan or anything. It's just like that's not who we're talking about. It's a different type of situation here. We're trying to lift up an art form that isn't recognized in that capacity as like it's a black art. IFCC is where plays have been held. We're talking about changing that building so multiple types of art can be held in there, dance and film and all of these different art forms and hip hop, and so that is you know I think naming it Starchile versus naming it Charles Jordan or any other elder black person in the community is important to like stay focused on and really not get lost in like, okay, there's been an idea primed here by me, that I'm hoping that more community will back once it's put out into the public. But also, like, let's look at the city at large. There's plenty in the city at large that should be reconsidered and like changed. There's plenty. There's streets, there's walls, you know, there's a lot of stuff to do, and there's a lot of history that we haven't even like begun to pick at, and there's a lot that we haven't even lifted up yet. So I hope that's not what we get lost in when it's more of a public situation, or that somebody else in hip hop should be honored. Like it's not the point.
I'll name it after. Portland would be like, so who is a white rapper from like Idaho that we can name this park after? Just
can we name Macklemore Park? I know he's not from here, but
look, I'm not gonna get into the as not much of a Macklemore listener. Leave Ben alone. Leave Ben alone. Poor guy. Anyways, on that note, thank you again for taking the time. Again, it's the Donovan Smith check-in where I'm gonna make sure to like always pick days where it's like you have like some early morning press conference or something. I never want this to be convenient or anything, but yeah, I do appreciate the time, sir. Keep up the good work, and let's get this Starchile Park.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me on as always, and look forward to more of it here in the very near future.
Appreciate sir.
It. Yep.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest videos. Thank you.